Good morning, you strange and wonderful weirdos. I'm John.
I'm Stacey.
It's Wednesday, November the 9th. And here's why. Today is strange.
All right, so let's start off with a really interesting story.
You know what? We
What's
need
that?
to start off with some really good stories, like the fact that, oh my God, I had a horrible yesterday.
I'm so sorry.
My today was very strange.
Was it?
Sick all night. I know you've been sick. Mm-hmm. It's been weird. It's a different kind of sick. My sick has been like some weird, just a weird couple days. I hope everybody out there is doing great.
I hope so.
I had to tell you though, I went to go vote in our first ever Kentucky election because we never lived in Kentucky before, so hence our first Kentucky election. Mm-hmm. So I went out there. It was the strangest occurrence I've ever had in my life. So we used to joke about Kentucky when we were on our podcast, and it was always just lovingly, you would see like a UFO report, and there would be like, there was this fireball across Maine and New Hampshire, and then they would be like, and Kentucky.
Yes.
And we were always like, how is Kentucky always part of it?
Somebody in Kentucky always sees it.
Yeah, it was always part of our joke, right? Mm-hmm. So I go out here. I have lived in many states, voted in many states. I go to Kentucky yesterday. I kid you not. There's 2 pages of things to vote for. It's not just like a Senate race or anything like
the amendments and stuff. Yeah.
So maybe 30 or so choices, and it's like some of it makes sense, like congressional lawnmower or something, whatever. Mm-hmm. There was also things such as coroner.
Oh.
Vote for the coroner.
I hope you picked someone good.
I just wonder how that race happens. Like, are there signs? It's like,
I guess.
Do
they debate?
Mark Calloway for coroner.
Do they debate about things?
Yeah.
Well, I would cremate more people than you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was funny.
That is strange. I didn't realize that was a vote for thing.
No, it's not.
I thought they just hired somebody.
I don't know. The one guy
went to coroner school.
I voted for the one guy because he seemed like he was really dying for it. So.
Oh, wow. You told that whole story just so you could tell that joke, didn't you?
Just came to me last second.
I see. All right. Shall we get into our stories?
Yeah.
Okay. So this first story is about the Oculus founder. His name is Palmer Luckey. And he is the man who founded the Oculus.
That thing you play all the time in the foyer, right?
Yes. The Oculus Quest.
The thing where you fuck the kids.
The Rift and the Quest. That is what he's the founder of that. He developed it, and he is also a defense contractor. But he has a blog, and recently on his blog on November 6th, 2022, he put out a blog where he talked about building a VR headset that will kill you if you die in game.
Wait. Hold on a second. Mm-hmm. It's a joke, right?
It's not a joke. Now, he's a big fan of a manga series called Sword Art Online.
Okay.
And in Sword Art Online, the date in the future that their incident happened, it's a VR manga, was November 6, 2022. So on that day, he decided to write this blog and talk about this Oculus headset that he had made that will kill you if you die in your game. Now, it's not fully functional. It's mostly mostly just office art right at the moment, but he has made it. Now, in Sword Art Online, I think
how does it kill you?
Well, I'm going to tell you. In the manga, when they wear it, if they die, there's microwaves that like fry your brain and you get stuck in the game. And I've not seen the manga, but it's very futuristic, and that was not something he could do. So he just modified it just a little bit. And since he's a defense contractor, he had these explosive cartridges that he said he uses for another project. He didn't specify. And he took 3 of those and he put them on a photosensitive like band and attached them to the headset. And the photosensitive band will detect if there's like a red flashing screen that indicates from a game that you have been killed. And if it senses that, the cartridges fire directly into the user's brain, killing you.
They made this?
He made one. He has it. He said that, unfortunately, it's only half done because while he has the killing part down pat, the VR technology is not where it needs to be. He won't wear it or anything. He claims that it needs to be tied to some sort of higher intelligence thing that can tell. No, so there's no false positives. You know, you don't want to die just randomly.
Because we've seen how well AI responds to humans lately.
Right. He does say he has plans for an anti-tamper mechanism that, like the one in Sword Art Online is called Nerve Gear. So like that way you can't destroy it or remove it.
Hackers. Can you imagine playing that one?
It sounds to me like something you would see in a Saw movie is what it sounds like.
It sounds to me like we need to investigate Mr. Lucky.
Well, there are pictures in his blog. Now, it does say he made it. There, nobody's seen it work, obviously. Or it's just something he's saying because he is a fan of Sword Art Online. It could just be a piece he wrote, But there are pictures, and it does sound like he did create it. He does make VR, so.
I'm a fan of The Mandalorian, but you don't see me freaking kidnapping little Yodas and trouncing across the
right.
But I would. No, I mean I would.
If you had the capability.
Oh, yeah.
If you had the capability.
I would.
I feel like he said that, that manga was very influential for him, with creating the VR and such. So
yeah. The Japanese will love it.
Sounds it's very popular.
The Chinese will probably use it.
It's very popular in Japan, like the VR is, not this particular headset.
That, right.
No, that headset is just destined to be stolen by some kind of arch nemesis of somebody and used for nefarious
I don't
purposes.
like the business part of me doesn't like the whole business plan of it, right? So if you're trying to pitch this to me, it all sounds like, oh yeah, the kids will love it. I want to build an audience for the sequel.
Right. You don't want to kill everybody.
Seems like we go into the paranormal realm for the follow-up game.
I think his tagline was, if you die in the game, you die in real life. Because it's not immersive enough if there's not the chance
that's not even a good tagline.
I know. If there's not a chance that you could really die, then it's not a fully immersive game, is it?
I've even got a tagline for that one.
Okay.
I mean, from the sales aspect, is it the most exciting game you'll ever play? You bet your life it is.
Very good.
Yeah.
See, he needs you as a marketing guy.
He needs something. He doesn't need me. He needs help. Help.
Unfortunately, there are people that are dumb enough to try it.
Of course there are. There's people dumb enough to do anything.
Yes. All right, let's move on. Let's do the story from Portugal.
I love Portugal.
Portugal, they're having a little bit of an issue that random corpses are becoming mysteriously mummified in Portugal, and they're not sure how that's happening. So in Portugal, there's a shortage of cemetery space and graves.
They're all on top of the ground.
They have this forensic anthropologist they've called in. Her name is Angela Silva Bessa. And she said that the problem is a combination of things. First of all, they do have a lack of space to bury people. They don't do a lot of cremation in Portugal. They want to bury their dead.
Right.
So back in 1962, they implemented this plan called Raising the Bones. And what this article says that is people have an understanding that when their family member dies, that they are buried in the church cemetery, but roughly for just like 3 to 5 years. When somebody else in their family passes, then they do what's called raising the bones, where they remove that family member and put the bones in a tomb.
Oh God, no!
Like a family tomb,
right,
in the church, and then bury somebody else in that plot because they just don't have enough space to bury everybody.
Okay.
So the problem now is that the bodies are for some reason not decomposing fast enough, and in some cases parts of the body are becoming mummified, and they have no idea how that's happening. Like, they're not purposely mummifying them. Maybe
they're protesting.
Perhaps. So they've brought her in to do some investigating, and she's done all kinds of things. Tested the soil, tested some of the bodies. They have not figured out.
I wonder if it's some of the bugs.
They have no idea. And it's just certain areas of the cemetery. Like, there's so many different factors that could go into this.
Yeah.
It's so strange. And I feel really bad for these families. They're trying to, of course, cremation would solve the problem, but that's just not such a wide practice there. In fact, they say the number of crematoriums has increased over the last 15 years from just 4 to 38. So it could be something where they're starting to...
Oops. So sorry to report this to the families at the Portuguesio Graveyardio, but there was an accidental fire. We don't know what happened. it all just went poof, and then I thought I grabbed the water hose, and it was gasoline.
Got really way down in the ground.
You know, my family member Diaz Garcia Rafael always has it there, Silva. Always, and they just grabbed the wrong one. I don't know. They're gonna figure something out. That is weird.
They are. It is very strange. And, they said it's also, for the families, it's kind of bad because whenever they take a body out and put somebody else in, they always have the family come for whatever reason, to watch. And when you pull a family member out that's been dead for a few years and they've not decomposed at all, it's a little bit traumatizing.
It's a little traumatizing.
A little bit.
Hearing about it. It's a little traumatizing that I have to think about that now. I don't want to go see my family member again.
Right.
I didn't want to be there in the first place. I hate funerals.
Well, if that didn't traumatize you enough, let's go on to this next story from Pennsylvania about a Pennsylvania mom who was too scared to sleep after seeing a ghostly figure on her security camera. Now, this woman, her name is Amanda Pitt. She told the paper that she noticed something on her security camera in her kitchen in the middle of the night. She woke up because she heard like heavy footsteps. And it was about 3:40 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And she looked and she happened to see what she thought was a ghostly figure standing in the doorway of the kitchen. Now, this thing is creepy. And she took a picture of it, like she saved the screenshot, and she was so disturbed that she could not go back to sleep. She just turned the TV on, you know how you do in the middle of the night. You turn the TV on, and she just watched TV, and, she made sure her husband was still in bed, her kids were still in bed. There wasn't anybody in the kitchen. And she kept going back to the security camera and looking and never saw it again. But this one time she saw it, it was so incredibly creepy.
Let's see it.
Okay, here you go.
Oh, my God.
Isn't it creepy?
Oh, God. Is it holding something?
Like maybe a doll or something?
Yes,
Or,
it looks
yeah.
like it's holding something, but it looks
really-
like it purposely has on a terrible face.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yes. So
Listen, I've seen things on security cameras before.
right.
That is shocking.
It is. And she claims that they moved into the home in 2020, and whoever lived there before didn't live there very long, and she has no idea why, but that they lived there for almost a year before anything weird happened. But now the security camera's been picking things up, like they'll all be gone and it'll pick up a door opening or the water turning on. And now she has this nice picture to lull her to sleep at night.
Okay. All right, let me just state for the
Creepy.
record. I've been doing this crap with the paranormal for many years. Many years. Okay? Seen a lot of things. I'm moving on that one.
That one was bad.
I'm moving on that one.
Are you?
Are you?
Yeah, it was really creepy.
Would you ever let your kids sleep again in that room?
No. It was in the kitchen, I think, but I wouldn't go in there anymore, like at night especially.
That's a figure.
Yeah.
And that figure is horrifying.
And it's obviously doing things when they're not home, too. So, yeah, no. I think I would have to start looking around. It didn't say whether they were buying the house or renting it. I'm hoping they're rental. It's a renting situation, so
on
they
your
can
pictures,
move.
that's a nice looking family. It's a nice looking house.
Yeah, it does. It's not like it was built in the 1700s or something. It was just really creepy.
You don't ever know, honestly. You don't ever know. That is creepy, man.
Very creepy.
Ooh.
Okay, so let's move on to something a little less creepy.
Okay.
All right, a story from Oregon.
It's a little creepy.
So this is about an elderly Oregon woman who tears through the town at 112 miles per hour and leads cops on a chase even after they used spike strips to try and stop her.
That's a fast woman.
It is. So her name is Elizabeth Catherine Essex. And the other night, roughly around midnight, they clocked her doing over 100 miles per hour. So the police obviously followed her to try and pull her over, but she would not pull over. They attempted to pull her over and used spike strips on the vehicle 7 times.
What was she driving?
Still continued driving. It doesn't say. Even when there were no more tires on the car, she still continued driving. She crossed county lines. So at first it was the Josephine County Sheriff's Office were the ones that spotted her and started chasing. But then she crossed the county line into Jackson County Sheriff's Department's district, and they had to take over the chase. Eventually, they had to do what they call a pit movement, where they had to take their cars and like surround her car and like kind of bump her off the road. And they eventually got her to stop.
I don't know, sir.
And
Reports at her house said that she watched 13 hours straight of Murder, She Wrote. Used way too much Ben Gay and ate some peanut brittle. She's on the loose.
They took her into custody without injury and charged her with eluding an officer and reckless driving. And I love the end of this because it says that the Jackson County Sheriff's Office noted that the Oregon State Police, as well as officers from Rogue River, Central Point, Medford, Phoenix, Talent, and Ashland police forces all assisted in the effort to stop this 175-year-old woman from driving 100 miles an hour. Like 8 police forces it took to stop this lady. I don't know. They didn't say, she didn't give a reason. They don't give a reason for why she was running or speeding or anything. I just,
you know what?
Go Granny.
You know what this is, right?
What is it?
This chick. This chick was like Quaalude age in the 70s. So this chick, she like when Woodstock happened, she's 21.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
She went through the 70s. She's like enjoying it. She's partying. All of a sudden, she's 75, bro. And it don't seem like a days went by. Imagine this. Like pretty soon, the 75-year-olds are going to be the ones that were in high school when they first heard Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh, man.
You know?
So, yeah, she's just living it up, huh? I mean, no tires on the car. What on earth did she think they were going to do when they pulled her over? She was running for her life.
Well, they had my medication last week, and Mr. Jeeves needed some snacks.
Mr. Jeeves. Mr. Jeeves always needs the snacks.
He does.
All right.
I hope he's alive, but yeah.
All right, let's go on to our last story.
Go,
This
Granny.
is from Kenya.
Kenya.
All right, so this is a story, a very strange story out of Kenya about some thieves that return a stolen cow after a witch doctor unleashes a swarm of bees on them. Interesting story. So this started back with a woman named Lillian Wathera, and she noticed that someone had taken the livestock from her property. So she reported it to the police that her cow had been stolen.
We've done this story.
No, not this story.
Do you remember a story just like this?
A similar. There are several stories out of Kenya like this. There was one where there was like a TV stuck on a guy's head. I think is one we might have done.
I remember a witch doctor putting like a swarm of bees on a guy.
Yes. Well, there's a video that just came out with this one, and supposedly the cow was stolen. And 2 days later, like she reported it to police, but then she called a witch doctor. And 2 days later, the gentleman brought the cow to the police officers, and one of them had bees all over his hands.
Yeah.
And he was being stung.
Right.
Right. So that's the story, and that's the video that came out. And the cops called the woman. She came and got her cow. And then they had to call after she mentioned that she, called the witch doctor. They called the witch doctor. The witch doctor came down and did something and, relieved the guy of the bees. That's the story with the video that came out. And there's pictures of it.
Yeah,
Very disturbing.
I've seen this plenty of times, honestly. I've seen the guys with the...
Right. So it's one of two things. Either the witch doctors are very effective there, or it's like the witch doctor planned it to drum up business for his witch doctory.
The witch doctor is a lucrative business.
The police did urge residents to please not hire witch doctors to solve their problems.
And they were like, witch doctors.
The witch doctors.
The witch doctor. Witch doctors. We won't hire them. Hire anyone you want.
People don't ask a lot of questions in Kenya.
They're like, Kenya? Sure. And that's why today is strange.